Welcome back to Baseline Fresh Detail. On today's video, I'm detailing a Kia Sedona van. As you can see here from this beginning clip, this is just another day in the life of a Canadian detailer. It was actually snowing while I was outside interior vacuuming this car. It got up to about -3 or -4 degrees outside, but I decided to just tough it out and keep on going. I was able to do a full interior vacuum and brush down, and then the rest of the detail I left for another day when it was a little better conditions out. Starting off, you can see the interior is super trashed in this Kia Sedona. A bunch of kids and a very busy family means that there's lots of food, lots of stains on the seats, lots of crumbs, trash, and toys everywhere. I start with just pulling out these rubber mats and going through and assessing the trouble areas and doing a once-over of this van. As you can see, it looks like tons of crumbs here from crushed up chips and crackers and stuff like that. Thankfully, the doors don't have any stains or sticky substances, and what little staining there is on the seats seems like it hasn't really been there that long. Moving on to the trunk, they actually spilt a little bit of rice in the back, and there's lots of debris. Starting with our vacuum here now, after pulling off the rubber mats, we still have the carpeted mats laying on top. I have decided to just do a quick vacuum, getting the large debris off here. Then I go in with my hand brush and brush out any trouble areas. Then I'll remove the carpeted mat and get to the proper carpet underneath and once again do a vacuum and brush down. It's always super satisfying sucking up these large chunks. As you can see here, there was even some chips that were getting stuck in the front of my vacuum. I simply just crushed it up with my hand and vacuumed the rest of it away. A little bit of backstory on this car. This Kia Sedona van is actually belonging to a regular client of mine. This is the third time I'm cleaning this van. She calls me up every few months to undo all the damage that her kids have done. They're all toddler age, so a lot of food and a lot of spills happen in here, but I always do my best to bring it back to showroom quality, and she loves the results. When I got out here in the morning to do this detail outdoors, it was totally cloudless in the sky and the sun was actually showing up, and it looked like it would be a good day. But when I finished setting up and I was just about to start detailing, it started to snow on me and it got a lot colder out. Regardless though, I'm pretty used to this, and I'm very dedicated in my craft, so I just toughed it out and I kept going. And as you can see here, every time I would get rid of some mess and clean it up with the vacuum, it would just have a layer of snow right where I cleaned, so I'd have to go back over and vacuum it up 2 or 3 times. As you can see here, I just pulled out the carpeted mat and going around the edges of these seat railings with my toothbrush, going into all the little edges and corners. Having a toothbrush or a dedicated detailing brush that is a little bit more on the medium bristle to hard side, so you can really scrape away any debris that's matted in the carpet. They're really, really useful. Moving on to the driver's side footwell now. It's getting kind of hard to tell what is the dirt and debris and what is snow. Everything is just covered in a layer, but it still looks really satisfying seeing me vacuum up everything and make a really big difference to this carpet. As you can see, getting even colder out. You can see my breath. My fingers are getting really cold, but as long as you keep moving, stay active, get that blood pumping, it doesn't really affect you too much. It took a few good hours of operating in here before it really started to get to me. After a thorough first round of vacuuming, I'll go over any trouble spots with my toothbrush in the edges and the hard to reach spots, and then my white bristle hand brush in the larger areas and places where things are really matted in. I always spend a little extra time around the dead pedal where you're resting your left foot often, because that's where a lot of dirt and pebbles and stuff get trapped. Also, focusing around the base of the pedals, if they're mounted to the floor, is always a good idea. Move on to the seats, you can see even more snow piling up. Very difficult to see all of the food crumbs and stuff that was left over. But once I do vacuum it all off, you can see on this nice clean seat that there are some sort of spills and stains inside the cushions. So stay tuned, in a couple weeks I'll be releasing the video where I fully extract the interior, all seats of this Kia Sedona. Moving on to these back seats, Here it's a little bit more apparent that there is some crumbs and debris, especially in that middle seat there. Going through, doing the same process, quick vacuum, and then hit it with the toothbrush in any trouble spots. Usually I would have a toothbrush that's separate for the floors and then one for my seats. In this case, I was cleaning my toothbrush as I go, giving it a quick vacuum, maybe spraying it with APC and rubbing it out every few hours. But in this case, just because the entire car was so trashed and dirty, I just used the same toothbrush, whether it was for any surface. Once most of the seats are finished up, I go back to these carpeted mats and give them a final brush down and a vacuum, just to get rid of anything else that might have been trapped on there that I didn't get the first time. I'm using a white medium bristle hand brush, but of course you can always bring out the drill brush or a different set of detailing brushes, whatever you prefer. Moving on to these rubber mats, I thought I would be able to use the snow that was collecting on these mats as a sort of a way to get them a little bit wet so I can wet brush them. So I took a more stiffer blue and white brush and I gave them a quick wipe down and brush down, and I vacuumed up a lot of the debris that was coming off. It didn't really work as well as I wanted to, but it still made quite a bit of a difference, and it was just something quick that I could do since I wasn't doing the full detail. A lot of this debris was actually frozen stuck into the rubber, and of course I can't really use any cleaning products, or else as soon as I spray that down it'll just freeze as well. So I just had to go in, physically agitate it with my brush as best as I could, and then vacuum up the sludge and debris that was left over. Once I'm finished with these rubber mats, I put them off to the side to hopefully air dry and drip off any excess. After I'm finished up with my interior vacuum, I tried to bring out the steamer and to do a little bit of work on the interior in the front of the car where the parents would sit. There was tons of spills and food in the cup holders and around the doors, and of course the steering wheel had lots of grime on it. As you can see, using the steamer definitely helps, but one thing that I realized as I was working was you don't want to shock all of these frozen plastics and materials and things around the dashboard. You don't want to shock them with that heat from that steamer. It's too fast and too sudden, and it could actually cause damage. So after a couple minutes, I realized, it's probably not worth it. Give everything a quick blast and try and wipe it down as best as I could, but I basically glossed over this and I told the customer I'm gonna come back another day and do the full detail for you when it's better conditions. As you can see here, I have a tight-knit yellow microfiber, and I'm just doing my best to try and get out whatever grime I can from these cup holders and around the center console. As you can see, thoroughly working each area. If I need to get into any small, tighter areas, I simply wrap the microfiber around my finger and use it to get into any corners and edges. Always switching to a new side whenever it gets dirty enough, never wiping over anywhere with a dirty side of my microfiber. Inside my steamer, I have ONR and regular water, and then in a separate spray bottle, I have another mixture of ONR. Moving around to the trunk, folding down these back seats flat and just going after them with a quick vacuum and a brush down. In the lower portions and the storage areas of this trunk, you can see what looks like rice just scattered all about. I'm assuming when they did groceries, they had a bit of a spill. I take my time here in the back of the trunk. All these door handles and little hooks and places where debris can hide, I'm just trying to get in there with my toothbrush, going over it multiple times with the vacuum, really trying not to leave a single grain of anything behind. And then of course, when everything gets cleaned, it gets snow right back on it, so trying to vacuum that up and try to keep it from getting wet in the back here. Here we have some after shots, and I got some really good footage here because right at the end, as I was packing up, the sun started to come out and the snow sort of lessened. But as I said, the weather was just really weird that entire day. So it was sunny again for like half an hour when I left, and then it started to snow again, and then later on in the day it got sunny again, and then a little bit more snow at night. So it was a really weird end of March. Here we can see my vacuuming of the front driver's side and passenger side. That carpet really did come back to life, and I got a lot of that debris off of the chairs and the seats. As you can see here, everything covered with a layer of snow, but as I'm packing up, it's not actively snowing. It had stopped, thankfully. After this interior vacuum of the Kia Sedona, I promised my customer that I would be back to finish off the rest of it, fully extracting these seats, steaming the dash and all the doors and hard surfaces, and doing a deeper clean. So I came back the next week and I finished off the rest of the car, and I was able to get footage of that, so stay tuned for more Baseline Front. Thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe and hit that bell icon.